Hello, friends. I'm so glad we can be together today. My name is Siobhan McDonald. I'm from Granger Street Studios, and today we have a special program all about birthdays. Let's get started. Happy birthday. That's right. Today we are going to look at the birthday celebration work of some artists and learn some of the history of birthdays, but I also want to celebrate you. I do like to start, though, by thanking Lynn Brennan and the folks from AgeSpan for hosting this event. I'd also like to thank Right at Home, Boston and North, the award-winning home health agency, for sponsoring this program and helping us all to stay safe, healthy, and connected. Today, our focus is on birthday celebrations. We are going to look at several images by different artists and also have time to talk about your birthday. But let's start with some people from popular culture and movies. Does anyone recognize this little birthday girl? That's right, it's Shirley Temple. Here's a fun fact about Shirley Temple. Her mother, Gertrude Temple, served as her daughter's hairdresser and styled Temple's golden locks and exactly 56 pin curls for every one of her movies. She is still the youngest recipient of an Oscar. When she was only 6 years old, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Board of Governors created an honorary juvenile award, which they presented to her in 1935. Did any of you watch Andy Griffith? In the middle here, you can see a wonderful shot of the cast of that show celebrating Ron Howard's birthday. He's the little guy right here. I watch that TV show every week, and sometimes I still watch the reruns today. Ron Howard was only 6 years old when he started playing the role of Opie Taylor. He went on to star in the sitcom Happy Days and had a very successful career to this day in film, both acting and directing. He did a fine job in American Graffiti. You can see that poster on the upper left here, along with many other movies. Apollo 13 is widely considered one of his finest films. Now, the first mention of a birthday comes from ancient Egypt, where large celebrations were put on for the pharaoh. Despite the clues in the name, birthday, day of birth, this isn't what the Egyptians actually celebrated. When you boil it back down to the origins of birthdays, they were actually celebrating the birth of someone as a god. The first of these is said to have taken place somewhere around the year 3000 before the Common Era. When pharaohs were crowned, it was considered that they had become a god. Like many things, this Egyptian tradition came into use by ancient Greeks. They similarly celebrated the gods as a form of tribute. To do this, they offered moon-shaped cakes to the lunar goddess Artemis. As a way to recreate the moon's radiance and Artemis's beauty, the Greeks added lit candles to make the cakes look as if they were glowing. This became a tradition carried on to this day. Despite playing host to the most widely celebrated birthday in the world, Christmas, early in the Christian church's history, birthdays were considered pagan rituals. In their first few hundred years of existence, they believed birthday celebrations to be evil and would not allow them. This changed around the 4th century when the birth of Jesus began to be celebrated. In medieval times, nobility began to celebrate their actual birthdays, while the peasants celebrated their saint's day, which was the saint they were named after. We can thank the ancient Romans, who were the first to celebrate the birth of the common man. This seemed to be the first time in history where a civilization celebrated the birth of non-religious figures. Regular Roman citizens would celebrate the birthdays of their friends and family members. The government, however, created public holidays in honor of more famous citizens. Any Roman turning 50 years old would receive a special cake baked with wheat flour, olive oil, grated cheese, and honey. But an important thing to note is that only men would experience this birthday celebration. Female birthdays were not celebrated until about the 12th century. What the heck? Many of the common traits of a more modern birthday party stem from Germany in the late 18th century. A cake baked beforehand with sugar that came from the English and Dutch colonies was presented to the child in the morning when they awoke, all lit with candles. The cake candles were kept lit throughout the day. As the candles burned out, they were replaced with fresh ones, and this was an important part of the superstition. The number of candles was supposed to represent each year a child had lived so far, often with one more added as a symbol of hope that they would live another year. This is where we get the one to grow on. The extra candle was sometimes also called the light of life. The Industrial Revolution made a way for everyone to enjoy sugary cakes. Sugary cakes were a birthday commodity only wealthy people had access to for quite some time. This was because the ingredients these sugary treats required were considered to be a luxury. The Industrial Revolution allowed birthday celebrations in all cultures to expand. The ingredients became more widely available. This, in combination with advances in mass production, allowed bakeries the option of offering customers pre-made cakes at lower prices. Life is not always poised for the camera, but full of messy bits as well. Here we see artist Jacqueline Fahey's painted in 1974. She describes how she made a conscious decision to include the routine stuff that made up her day. In this painting titled The Birthday Party, she shows us the discarded objects on the table as things of significance and beauty. And you know what? They are beautiful. That blue balloon, the discarded wrapping paper so delicately patterned, the tabletop with its swirled wood grain, the marbles strewn across the table. They all have their own beauty, don't they? The painting is rich in patterns, colors, and textures that reward a longer, closer look. I enjoy these paintings because they're so immediate. What they present is so recognizable. Have you ever had a surprise birthday? Side note here, personally, I do not like surprise parties, and my husband is under strict instructions to never throw one for me. But we did have a surprise party for my vovó, my grandma, her 90th birthday. That was awesome, although she said we almost gave her a heart attack when she walked in. She was a great sport about it. How about you? When was the time you were surprised with a birthday? Perhaps you surprised somebody else. Have you ever been to a surprise party? What's your favorite kind of cake? Ooh, these all look delicious, don't they? You know, this cheesecake is pretty yummy looking over here, but I have to tell you, I think I might like one of these bottom two, this red velvet or just this white cake over on the right. Of course, there's lots of other types of cake too. What's your favorite? Parties have changed a lot over the years. I thought you would enjoy this 1950s video I found that explains what makes a good party. Let's watch it together now.
1 4. 4 1. 1 3.
3 2.
2 7.
7 2.
Oh no! You forgot a turn.
It's the big night. The planning and preparation will help make a good party. But what else makes a good party? It's the skill of the hosts and the skill of the guests in making the party fun for everyone.
Here we are, gang. Step right in.
Hi, I'm so glad you're here.
Eileen, this is Steve.
Hello, Steve.
Hello, Eileen. Aren't you the party planner I've heard so much about?
Well, and this is Paul Johnson, our star tackle.
How you doing, Steve? Glad to know you, Paul. Let me take your coat.
Notice how
Paul.
Jean helps her
We're
guests
using
get
my
acquainted.
room. I'll go with you.
Oh, no, never
Well, the
mind.
party is off to a good start. And when all the guests have arrived and have been introduced, the games begin. Well-planned, well-chosen games. First, a simple get-together game. Each one may ask questions and try to guess his own identity. Having fun together makes a party. This means both hosts and guests. Whenever any of the guests begin to lose interest in a game, the host should start a new game, so fun together can continue. And did you ever play rhythm?
1-4.
I can see you guys
4-1.
free again.
1-3.
3-2.
2-7.
7-2.
Oh, no. You broke out a turn.
You're out. You're out, too, because you didn't
I was
have
6. But you know, as long as you got one.
And then, at just the right moment,
Is anybody hungry? Everything's ready.
is anybody hungry? Well, a little snack certainly is pleasant about this time of evening. Simple food, buffet style, an informal way to serve refreshments. And part of a good party is knowing when to go home, soon after refreshments have been served. Leave on time, and courteously, too, thanking your host sincerely for the good time you've had. All these things help to make a good party, a party that's fun for all.
Well, I certainly learned a lot from that video. You know, it's funny, that's 60 years ago, more than 60 years ago. But I think so many of those things hold true today, right? We want to greet guests warmly and feel like we're part of activities, maybe play a game, have a snack, and especially leave on time. Did you recognize that party experience? Have you ever been to a party like that when you were young? How about when you were a little kid? How did you celebrate your birthday? Hopefully it wasn't as dramatic as this one. This little girl on the right does not look happy at all. Did your family have any fun birthday traditions? Maybe you got to pick out whatever you had for dinner on the night of your birthday, or get to go for a drive somewhere special. One thing we all seem to have in common is that cake is part of our birthday celebrations. Artist Wayne Thiebaud is wonderfully ungimmicky. He belongs to a more classical tradition of painting than to the pop revolution that first propelled him to national attention in the 1960s. Thiebaud lived until he was 101 years old. This photo is an older photo taken when he was only 97. Here's Thiebaud's personal favorite sweet. He often talked about his love for lemon meringue pie. He never went to art school. He got the art education that would serve him best by bussing tables and washing dishes, molding burgers and building ice cream cones in a restaurant in Long Beach where he grew up, the son of a Model T mechanic. The cakes and pies, the best known of Thiebaud's work, are painted from his imagination and from long ago memories of bakeries and diners. Here's some more of that interview with artist Wayne Thiebaud. The reporter asked, "What drew you to painting those sweet, sugary confections that so many of us love?" He replied, "It's because I hadn't seen anyone paint those things, which I looked upon and found quite interesting and beautiful. If you really look at a lemon meringue pie or a beautiful cake, It's kind of a work of art, and that's what attracted me. And when you put them in rows, you have the ability to orchestrate them, to imbue them with what you hope is some extra interesting looking forms. It was really fortunate. Once I painted pies, I thought no one would be interested in them. It seemed a silly thing to do. But as I did it and got interested, I couldn't leave it alone. I looked at all the other things that I thought had been overlooked, like rows of beautiful round suckers or candied apples or gumball machines, or all of the things which we used to display in windows on top of counters. He continued to get up before first light every day to work in his upstairs studio until nearly the very end of his life. By noon, he was on the court at the Sutter Lawn Tennis Club in slacks and a shirt, playing doubles regardless of the valley heat. By 2 p.m., he was at the easel in his Midtown studio, an unmarked single-story building not far from the state capitol. And he didn't just paint sweets, as you can see from this remarkable self-portrait on the left. Now let's take a look together at a painting. I'll give you some of the history behind this work in a bit, but my question to you is, what's going on in this picture? Okay, yeah, you see these flying figures. Great, what more can we find? Okay, you're noticing that the woman has flowers, and you're wondering if it's an anniversary, perhaps, or some other special occasion. Some of you are seeing that there are a lot of things on the table. A little purse, a knife, a plate that might be a cake there, a cup, something else here that could be food. And you notice in the window, we can see right out the window into this village. What more can we find? Okay, the colors and the fabrics and the patterns. Yes, this painting is filled with fabrics and patterns. Love and fantasy go hand in hand, said Marc Chagall. Chagall is the artist, and this painting is called The Birthday. It's her 28th birthday. In a moment of emotion and passion, her husband decides that the flowers he got for her are just not enough. And so he literally leaps to kiss her, catching her by a wonderful surprise and carrying her away. Marc Chagall was considered to be the last survivor of the first generation of modernists from Europe. The central source of the love of his life was his wife, Bella. They met when Bella was just a teenager. She came from a wealthy family who made its fortune in jewels, and Marc was very poor. In 1915, Chagall finally married Bella, despite the opposition of her parents, who wanted a better match for their daughter. The Birthday was painted by Chagall just a few weeks before he and Bella married. Now, this vivaciously painted work is one of several interior scenes from the 1880s, featuring portraits of John Singer Sargent's friends. Here we have the French artist Albert Besnard and Charlotte Dubray Besnard, shown celebrating the birthday of their eldest child, Robert. The mother is the dominant figure in the foreground, while the father is relegated to the background and virtually faceless. The crimson walls, decorative wall coverings, and the Asian-inspired lampshade suggest that this is a refined family. I can practically taste the cake in this painting from 1996 by Calvert Brown called My Birthday Party. Who doesn't love one of those corner frosting pieces? Yum. Now let's look at this one together. What's going on in this picture? Yeah, there are 3 women right in the center you can see here. And we have a little girl beautifully dressed. Doesn't she look like she's ready for a special event? Handing the older seated woman a basket filled with fruit. You're noticing the teapot in the background. Yeah. And now you're seeing a lot of other little details. A beautiful vase of flowers, some books on the table, a charming little dog on the footstool, and wait a minute, even a woman in the background turned away from us. And here are some details from the painting I thought you would enjoy looking at. That little dog. And I was able to get a pretty good close-up of this woman who, would you agree that she might be a housekeeper? I think so. Turned away from the scene. What a beautiful day it is out there. The painting is titled Grandmother's Birthday. It was painted in 1867 by Josephus Laurentius Dijkman. He was Flemish, but he spent time in London. His detailed and highly idealized scenes of everyday life were very popular. This painting includes portraits of the wife, daughter, and mother of the man who commissioned it. Now, sad to say that the mother right here, the grandmother of the title, was actually not alive when he did this painting. So her likeness was probably taken from a photograph. What a beautiful treasure for this family to have this. It shows a classic high Victorian interior design, elegant furniture, this beautifully patterned, serious wallpaper. 3 generations of women. And we're noticing that the grandmother in the scene is dressed all in black, so we could guess she may be a widow. The mother and daughter are dressed in this typical Victorian refined lace and satin dresses. The small dog resting on the footstool really helps to balance the whole composition. Now, Birthday Wishes by Raimundo di Madrazo y Garreta is sometimes also called the love letter. I'm sure you can see why. Aren't those flowers beautiful? That could be a painting all in itself. Oh, yay, it's trivia time. What actress sang Happy Birthday to President John F. Kennedy? I'm going to give you a moment to think about that. How many of you knew that that was Marilyn Monroe? How about this question? Which child actress received 135,000 presents for her 9th birthday? I bet you know who this is. Yes, on her 9th birthday, Shirley Temple received more than 135,000 presents from around the world. The gifts, by the way, included a baby kangaroo from Australia and a prize Jersey calf from school children in Oregon. Now, I don't expect anyone to know the answer to this, but I came across it while researching this program and was so charmed I couldn't resist throwing it in here. What happens to your nose when you celebrate your birthday in Canada? Well, in Canada, especially on the Atlantic side, it is common practice to sneakily grease the birthday boy or girl's nose with butter. By doing so, the greased nose will make the person too slippery for bad luck. I hope you enjoyed hearing about some of the history of birthdays and looking at paintings together. I have one final short message here for you before we say goodbye.
Hey kid, I hear it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday!
Yes, happy birthday, whether it's in May or October or any other month. I wish you the best. A final thank you to our friends at AgeSpan and the folks at Right at Home Boston North. We've appreciated having this program every month and connecting together. I'm Siobhan McDonald from Granger Street Studios. I'll see you next time. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. Goodbye, friends. It's time to say goodbye. Goodbye, my friends. Take care. We'll talk soon.